Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of IMG Helping Hands. I am your host, and in today's episode, we're talking about one of the most crucial and anxiety-inducing parts of becoming a U.S. resident physician, the match process. But here's the thing. Every year, thousands of applicants gear up for residency with dreams in their eyes, a backpack full of credentials, and a heart full of hope, only to hit roadblocks of confusion, myths, and misinformation. What's the actual timeline of the match? When should you be done with your personal statement? What's the deal with the NRMP algorithm? Does it favor applicants or programs? And if you go unmatched, what exactly is SOAP, and how do you approach it without falling apart? This episode is going to break all of that down. Not as a list of tips, but as a journey. Your journey. And we're going to walk that journey together, step by step, deadline by deadline, so by the end of this episode, you will know exactly how this system works and how you can work it to your advantage. We'll start from the very beginning with the match timeline. Then, we'll move to the ERAS application, arguably the single most important piece of your application puzzle. Then, we'll talk about how interview invitations are sent, and what you should be doing during interview season to maximize your chances. From there, we'll take a deep dive into the NRMP algorithm, what it really does, how it processes your rank order list, and why it's designed to favor the applicant over the program. Alright, let's rewind a bit and talk about where the match journey really begins. While most people think of September as the starting line, the truth is that the process actually starts months earlier, with June. Let's break it down month by month, and I'll explain what needs to happen at each stage so you don't get caught off guard. In early June, the ERAS token is released by the ECFMG for international medical graduates. You'll use that token to register on MyERAS, the application portal where you'll be uploading everything, your documents, letters of recommendation, and program selections. This is your signal that the match season has officially begun, even if applications aren't open yet. Here's what you should be doing in June. Finalizing your personal statement. And yes, it's okay if you tweak it later, but you need a solid draft by now. Requesting letters of recommendation, ideally, 3 to 4 strong ones. If possible, from U.S. physicians or supervisors from your clinical rotations. Uploading your CV and experiences into ERAS, this includes work history, research, volunteering, and leadership. Ordering your USMLE transcripts, because once match opens, programs want to see those Step 1 and Step 2 CK scores. Many IMGs also start reaching out to residency advisors or mentors to review their documents. Don't do this last minute, get feedback early so you can revise without panic. By this time, you should have all your documents ready that you need to upload to ERAS. Here's what goes in. Personal statement, you can have different ones for different specialties. CV/experiences. Letters of recommendation, uploaded via ERAS letter portal by your writers. USMLE transcript, via FSMB. MSP, Medical Student Performance Evaluation. For most IMGs, this is your dean's letter or equivalent. In August, you also want to start shortlisting the programs you plan to apply to. This requires research. You don't want to blindly apply to 200 programs. You want to apply smart, based on IMG friendliness, visa sponsorship, year of graduation requirements, minimum USMLE score cutoffs. This is the strategy that separates successful applicants from those who scattershoot and hope for the best. September is when it all becomes real. On or around September 6th to 15th, ERAS opens for programs to begin receiving your application. This is known as the opening day. This day is critical. Because the earlier your application is submitted, the higher your chances of being reviewed before interview slots start to fill up. For many competitive programs, interviews are gone within days of opening. By this time, you should have your ERAS fully submitted. All LORs uploaded. USMLE transcripts authorized. Personal statements polished. Programs assigned. Don't wait till the last minute. You can't afford a typo or missing document at this stage. Once applications are in, the waiting game begins, but don't be idle. Programs start sending out interview invites as early as mid-September, and this continues through October, November, December, and sometimes into early January. This is also the time to practice mock interviews. Follow up with programs via thank you notes. Track which interviews you've attended or scheduled. Some specialties and programs give invites in waves, while others use first-come first-served systems. So, you've got to stay responsive and organized. In late January or early February, the NRMP opens its rank order list (ROL) system. This is where you list programs in order of preference. We'll get into ranking strategy later in the episode, but know this: what you rank matters more than what you think programs think of you. Both applicants and programs submit their ROLs by late February. Match week is usually in the second or third week of March. Here's how it breaks down. Monday, you find out if you matched. Not where, just if. If you matched, congrats. You can relax until Friday. If you didn't match, you enter SOAP. We'll break this down in its own segment later. Thursday, final SOAP round concludes. Friday, match day. You get the email telling you where you matched. Time to pop the champagne or cry tears of relief. That's your match timeline, month by month, task by task. And now that we've laid out the structure, let's zoom in on the first real battlefield, the IRAS application. Residency Application Service. Think of IRAS as your storefront. It's your chance to sell your brand, your value, and your unique path to US residency. Programs won't meet you in person until interviews. So until then, IRAS is you. Let's break down each section and how to use it to your advantage. This is the first part: your name, contact info, ID numbers. But be sure to double-check everything. A small mistake here, like the wrong phone number or an outdated email, could cost you an interview invite. You also get to choose if you have a geographical and program setting preference. You'll also fill in your citizenship, visa status, and whether you're ECFMG certified. If you're an IMG and already certified, this makes you more competitive. If not, just make sure your status is clear and consistent with your documents. Here, you list your medical school, the dates you attended, and any additional degrees you've earned. Be honest. List your graduation date accurately. Some programs filter out applicants who graduated more than 5 years ago, so you need to target programs accordingly. This is also where you can mention honors, clerkship grades, if you have them, and any relevant thesis or capstone work. Here's where you shine. This section includes medical work experience, volunteer experience, research experience. Each entry gives you space to describe your role, what you learned, and what you contributed. Use this space wisely. Don't just say, assisted in patient rounds. Say something like, participated in daily multidisciplinary rounds, contributed to diagnostic plans, and independently presented patient cases to the attending physician. Be specific. Use action verbs. Show leadership and growth. If you've done research or written papers, this is your moment. List journal articles, posters, abstracts, case reports, conference presentations. Use the proper format, AMA or Vancouver, and be honest about your role. Don't exaggerate. And yes, even case reports count. This is where your USMLE scores go. Most programs look at Step 1 and Step 2 CK. If you've passed both, great, your application becomes stronger. If you haven't taken Step 3 yet, that's okay, it's not required for most applicants unless you're applying as a reapplicant or for programs requiring it. Be sure your USMLE transcript is authorized through FSMB so it uploads directly to IRAS. You can upload up to 4 letters, but you assign a maximum of 3 per program. This allows for customization. Aim to include US clinical experience letters, a letter from someone in your target specialty, a character reference or mentor. Make sure your letter writers know your strengths and have worked with you closely. A generic letter does more harm than good. We could do an entire episode on this alone. But for now, here's the golden rule. Your personal statement is not your CV in paragraph form. It's your story. Why medicine? Why this specialty? What makes you you? Use the statement to connect the dots in your journey. If you're an IMG, explain the transition. If you have a gap, briefly mention it. Be honest, be humble, and show growth. Have multiple versions for different specialties. And get it reviewed by someone with experience in US residency recruitment.